Hello everybody, welcome to the I Am IT Geek YouTube channel. My name is Shabazz Dart and as ever I am the IT Geek. I'm also a newly awarded Microsoft MVP in the Enterprise and Mobility category, which kind of brings me onto this video. This video is essentially a thank you video. Now, I felt like there's a lot of people that I want to thank because this didn't happen overnight and I've not done it all on my own. And a tweet or a kind of a message just didn't do it justice. So people might think it's a bit over the top, but there's certain people and certain points within my kind of journey that are very, very important to this award. So I wanted to mention those points and those people. So please do bear with me. I'll try and make it short and sweet. So yeah, as I said, really, really thankful to be nominated first of all, but then just to win the award is I'd say it's probably the biggest thing that's happened to me in my IT career. To be fair, see, I've been working in the IT industry for 15 years, and probably the last 7 to 8 with cloud. But my sort of community journey, I suppose, started. It started a while ago, but I wasn't very active, if I'm honest with you. There's always somewhere where you start, and for me it was blogging. And while I was still very early on in my sort of cloud career, let's say, and I was working at a place called Concord Technology Group, and I'll be honest with you, it's probably 6-7 years, best 7 years of my life, I suppose, working there. I learned so much. I met so many great people. So first of all, that's a big shout out to Concord for kind of getting me started on my cloud journey. Now, the person I want to give a quick shout out to first, who essentially showed me blogging and kind of introduced me to it, is a good friend of mine, Carl Mcdead. So Carl was a senior. He was a senior member of the team, essentially, at Concord, solutions architect sort of role. And he'd started doing blogging for a while now in certain technologies like Veeam and VMware. And I was obviously reading his posts and liking them and getting loads of information from them. And I just kind of thought, wow, I'd love to be able to do something like that. I'd love to be in a position to do that. And so, sitting down and speaking to Carl and understanding where he kind of got his information from and what motivated him to blog, motivated me to blog as well. So seeing how much he enjoyed it, and how much it helped people as well. Some of the comments I remember he used to get and the likes he used to get and were amazing. And so, the first big thank you I want to give is to Carl Mcdead, because he very much helped me kind of get into blogging and that sort of community aspect. He kind of introduced me to it. And he helped me with my, set up my blog site and kind of, and just motivated me, to be honest with you, to get started. So that was very early on, maybe 2017. For me, that was about 2017, 2018 when I first started blogging. Now, I didn't do many blogs. It was just the 1 or 2, because I wasn't very confident in, I suppose, in my knowledge, I suppose is the right phrase for it. So what I'll do is I'll put a link to my first ever blog that I did in the description of this video. So that's where it all kind of started, I suppose. And then I kind of, did the odd blog here or there, and then it got to a point where I really got into it and started trying to release a blog every week, and that got too much for me over a few months. I kind of burnt out, and so I backed off a little bit. So the next sort of point in my sort of community career that is very important is my first video that I ever did. Now, I think people who follow me on Twitter and who are kind of my friends on Twitter know that it was the what was then known as the Azure Advent Calendar. I believe it's now the Cloud Festive Calendar. I think it's called the Festive Calendar. This is run by Gregor Suttie and Richard Hooper. So that was the first year they did it. And again, I was starting to be more vocal on Twitter. I was starting to follow more of these sort of MVPs that I looked up to and within my sort of space, Azure and Microsoft 365. And I kind of reached out to Gregor and I said, I really want to get involved, but I've never done anything like this before. Would I be able to get involved and do a video? It's like, yeah, of course, no problem, and that's the whole premise behind that initiative, to get new people doing videos and blogs and stuff like that. So that was it. I signed myself up. I'd never done a video before in my life. So I suppose, thank you to Gregor and Richard. I'm going to speak about them later on because they've been a massive part of my recent community aspect as well. So the first video that I did, again, not having a clue, not having any kit, not having a camera or anything like that. There were two people who were really helpful and essentially helped me through that video, creating it. So the first one is Neil Roberts, who again works at Concord Technology Group. He's the MD, I think, at Concord, and Joseph Mason, or Joey Mason. So Neil was amazing. Neil, I spoke to Neil about it, and Neil was at my time at Concord was very much a mentor for me, and so supportive of all the activities that I did. And I'll be forever grateful for Neil for the support he gave me throughout my career at Concord. And Neil lent me a laptop. I think it was an Apple Air laptop. He lent me a camera, essentially all the kit that I needed, the microphone, everything. He let me use, which was like, his kit or Concord's kit at the time. And he also let me come in on a Saturday and use one of our kind of meeting rooms to shoot it. And he even came in on the day that I was shooting it to help me record and give me pointers. And that's as well, Joey Mason did as well. And he came in on his Saturday. They came in on this Saturday to help me record the video. It was the most painful day of my life. I cannot tell you how painful it was. I'll put a link up again, and it makes me cringe when I watch it. It's like when I watch it back, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's honestly, I'm okay at watching myself back in my more recent videos, but I just can't watch that one to save my life. And it was even though it was a bit of a traumatizing experience, it was still the first sort of video that I did. So that first video for me was very important, and it'd be remiss of me not to thank Neil and Joey for their support and help in creating that video, and obviously Gregor and Richard for their support when allowing me to take part in that initiative, being a total newbie. That put me off videos for a while, but what it did give me a taste for was more community, and I saw the sort of reaction that I got and the support that I got from the general online cloud community, and it made me want to do more community stuff, but just kind of not videos for now. So that's when I started joining user groups, and I started joining them as a watching them for now. And I think I went to a couple in person. I went to Richard Hooper. I went to Richard's is it not Northeast user group? Went up to Newcastle for the evening and went there. And I think I went to one in Manchester. It was an Office 365 one in Manchester that I went to in person. And I just went there and watched the presentations. And I was in awe of these MVPs. I think I remember watching Mark Vail do the Office 365 presenting there. I was in awe of these people, and I was like, wow, I'd love to be able to do that one day. Obviously, COVID hit then, and what that did was that brought virtual sort of user groups to the forefront. And that's kind of where I took my opportunity, because again, I was in my opinion, I was very, very new to all the community aspects, and I just wasn't brave enough, if I'm honest with you, to do in person. But the virtual element gave me that bit of confidence. And so my first ever user group presentation was at the Leeds Azure user group, so which is run by Ryan Yates. So that's the next person I want to say thank you to Ryan for giving me that opportunity to be able to present at his user group. And again, it was the first time I'd ever presented, and I didn't have a slide deck. And I remember Gregor Sutty again. Gregor's been a mentor for me throughout my sort of community career, so I'll be ever grateful to Gregor Sutty. But yeah, Ryan put in a lot of his time. I remember having 2 or 3 calls with him on an evening, going through my slide deck, and he was giving me pointers and maybe take this out and add this in your slide deck, and and it was amazing. And he was so supportive. So a big thank you to Ryan Yates, another Microsoft MVP that I looked up to for a long time, for giving me that support in my first ever user group session. So that was it. Then I got the taste for it, and I've been steadily. I started literally once or twice a month, different user groups. I think the Berlin user group, I think I've done. I've done like I've done so many. I've done the AVD community user group, which Neil McLaughlin runs. I did. I think I presented at the first ever one, actually. That was the first one they did. I presented at that. And I've done many more. I've done a few conferences, virtual conferences, and just that first start that Ryan gave me is I'm so grateful for. So thank you very much, Ryan, for your support in that. Obviously, we're moving up. Before I move on again, just going back to my Concord days, they were so supportive, general, not just Neil, Joey, Carl, but my team there, people like Maria Pop and Chris Stead and Craig Mcdead. They're all very supportive of the sort of work that I was doing on the community and always sharing my videos and liking them. So again, massive thank you to the whole Concord family because that was at the start of my community sort of aspect, and I just want to say thank you to them for all that initial support they gave me. It does mean a lot, and I'll be forever thankful for that. Moving forward, again, in the last a year or so has been just a bit of a whirlwind, because again, I've been doing more and more community stuff. I started my YouTube channel I think it might have been October or November in last year, yeah, 2020 I started it. And again, even though I was traumatized at that first experience with videos, I wanted to get back into YouTube because it's always been, again, the blogging and the sort of user groups that I was presenting that were great, but I had more information and more things I wanted to talk about. I just didn't think I could express them on a blog. So I created a YouTube channel, which is, I Am IT Geek, and just started creating content on there. And again, they're not very high level. They're very high level videos. They're not really detailed, but my aim is to try and help people that are in the same position I was in a year ago, or maybe 2-3 years ago, that starting out, or in cloud, but starting out in certain aspects of cloud like identity or Azure Virtual Desktop. So yeah, the starting the YouTube thing was a massive thing for me. Was a massive step forward for me, and I really do enjoy the video content. It's a massive passion of mine. But obviously, I was then, got to a point where I've been friends with Gregor and Richard for how many years now? Since 2019, I think. It feels like longer, but it's only 2019. And then I met them at Ignite, which was amazing to meet them. And again, they're massive MVPs that I've looked up to for so long. And Gregor, speaking to him on an evening, we're both on late on doing community stuff. He said to me, what, I think you've been doing really well. I'm going to nominate you. And he nominated me for the MVP. And I was blown away, if I'm honest with you. I was like, wow, nomination on its own is such a big thing for me. And I was content with that. The sort of MVP, the people who get awarded, like I say, I look up to them so much. And it's not something that it's something that I've thought of. When I first started in the community, I'll be honest, when I first started, when I was very new to the community, I was just saying MVPs, like, I want to be that. How do I become that? And that was like, I was like, I really want to be an MVP. And I think it was for the wrong reasons. Once I understood what community was, which is it's helping people, essentially, helping people and helping them learn the things you've learned and sharing your experience. That is what it is for me anyway. Once I understood what it was like, nah, it's not an aim for me anymore. You know what? If it ever happens, and it's a wonderful thing, and it's almost like a thank you back to me for doing the community stuff, which is lovely. But it's not something I'm going to aim for, and that's been my attitude for the last I'd say 2 years or so. I've tried to do community best I can, and just it is what it is. If it happens, it happens. But Gregor nominated me, and I'm forever thankful for his guidance and his mentorship throughout my sort of community aspect. And then obviously I've moved jobs back in October. I'm at Net Company now, and again, I want to say a massive shout out to the Net Company family because they've been again really supportive with my community aspect. People like Sam O'Donnell, like it, and the whole Leeds, especially the Leeds team, just liking my videos, sharing them, commenting on them. They've been massively supportive. So I want a massive big shout out to Net Company and all the people who work there, because they've been massively supportive. So I suppose if we get towards the end of the video now, I'm almost with my thank yous, I promise. Coming up, like I said, Gregor and Richard have been massive supporters of mine and always giving me advice around all sorts, not just community, around my work and any technical aspects that I've struggled with. So they've been there throughout my journey. So I can't thank them enough, and I'll be forever grateful for their mentorship and their friendship. And again, it'd be remiss of me not to thank the Microsoft MVP team, Claire Smith and her team, because they've been amazing through this whole process as well. I can't thank them enough for all their guidance and just help during the sort of application process and keeping me up to date and stuff like that. Her time and efforts are very much appreciated, I know, by the community and definitely myself. Hopefully I'm not there's a few more, just two more things I want to say. So thank you for being patient with me. That's important that I get all this off my chest. The general community, the cloud community, the few people that I have to call out because they've been such good friends for me. Again, I've not even mentioned the cloud user group that I started with Imran Rashid and Mohammed Sajid. That was a massive, massive big thing for me because I feel like I'm trying to give back to Bradford. It is the Bradford Cloud User Group. It doesn't mean only if you're in Bradford you can come to it. You can come to it from wherever. But starting that with Imran and Saj was huge for me because, again, it's my way of giving back to Bradford because I'm born and bred Bradford lad. If you can't tell by the accent. And it's been amazing for me to be able to run this user group and put Bradford on the map from a cloud perspective. So I want to thank Imran and Saj for their friendship, for their, we're like brothers practically now. We're the three, we like to call ourselves the Three Musketeers, but their friendship and just help and support with the Bradford Cloud User Group has been amazing. Simon Lee is another person I need to thank. He's been a great friend of mine for the last 18 months, especially during COVID. He's in Bradford as well, and his doing the AVD Zero to Hero YouTube thing with him was amazing. So much fun, and it was like two friends just chatting. Really, if I'm honest with you, it was amazing doing that with him. He's been really supportive. So I want to say thank you to him. And just generally, people within the cloud community have been so supportive. John Lone, Carl Cook, Chris, who else? So many people. Victor. Can't forget Victor, a good friend of mine, and just Neil McLaughlin and that whole AVD community have been so supportive. So thank you. I'm sorry if I've forgotten to name anybody. Lisa at the end, Lisa Clark has been an amazing supporter of mine as well. Holly Lehman and Isadora, they've been amazing as well. Just their support. Sarah Lean, I look up to Sarah so much, and her content has been so much inspiration for me. It's ridiculous. Sarah's been a big supporter of mine as well, and just always available to, if you ask her any questions, always available for support or guidance. So generally the cloud community I want to say massive thank you to. So massive big thank you. One last thank you, and this might get a bit emotional. I need to thank my family. I wouldn't be here without their support, and I'll talk about my brother, Professor Jawad Dar. When I first started out with the video content, because he does a lot of lectures and stuff, he was massively helpful and spending his own time. I know he's my brother, but still spending his time and giving me guidance on my video stuff. So massive thank you to my brother and my sisters. I know they don't know what I talk about most of the time, but they're always been so supportive. Need to thank my wife and my two kids. What people might not, I'm sure you do understand. The people who create this content also understand that the time I spend creating this content is time away from my family. It's time that I'm not spending with them, and they've been massively supportive. My wife, especially Rima, she's my rock, and they're why I do this. I know it's my hobby, but they're the reason why I do what I do. So massive thank you to her. My two kids, Zoya and Mikhail, I can't forget them. Just a bit, if you notice, a lot of my videos, there's a Shabazz Dar that comments on them. It's not me. I'm not that big-headed that I comment on my own videos. It's my son logged into my other account from his tablet. Again, they don't know what I talk about, but they're on there watching and liking and commenting, and it's the sweetest thing ever. So again, massive thank you to my family for their support throughout everything. They've been there from before I even started doing Q&A stuff. So I wouldn't be here without them. They're my rock, and they're the reason I do it. So that's it, really. I know, sorry, I've rambled for like 20 minutes, but there's so much I had to get off my chest, and so many people I had to thank, because this award does mean a lot to me, and it's difficult to describe, I suppose. But I'm very, very grateful. It's not going to change anything. Nothing changes. Yeah, I'm a Microsoft MVP, but I'm going to keep on doing what I do because I love doing it. I'm going to keep on being part of the community, keep on helping people. So thank you very much to everybody. Thank you for everyone who's ever supported me. That's it. I will see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye.